Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And hi, love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So what do? 3, 2, 1, my juice little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Yes. So that doesn't mean no. So yeah. So for half of the day it's been raining. If it's raining, it's raining. There was a tiny bit of sunshine, very cloudy sky, no blue sky. It's all grey. But it's not so bad. It's a bit windy today, my delicious little baby's okay, but it'll probably start raining again shortly, and that's the weather forecast in my neck of the woods in our old England, my delicious little baby. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, that the weather and yourselves are super duper and deliciously well, and that you're having a delicious day or night. Okay, my delicious little babies now then. So yeah, what have I got for you today? So yeah, I was watching a video actually, and it was to do with Transnistria, my delicious little babies. I will tell you which video that is tomorrow, my delicious little babies. Something's just told me not to say it today. There we are for some strange reason, my delicious little babies. Anyway, and what it's talking about, I think it's about over 40 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Now, apparently, Transnistria is not on a map. It has 500,000 population. And what it was showing was like, where you go back to, old-fashioned. It's all right, my delicious little babies, okay, because I'm just trying to do my video, you see, but I've been spending half my time feeding my little babies, and Auntie Carla's little chin, she comes from up the road, my delicious little babies, and I just wanted to get my video done. Again, my delicious little babies, so I wasn't, it's just that I just do not want any distractions, sometimes I do get distracted, my delicious little babies, not meaning that in a horrible way, okay? Anyway, my delicious little babies, so yeah, and they're showing like, it's like the more older-fashioned way of doing things, my delicious little babies, like little shops, we remember them, don't we, my delicious little babies, from, going back decades ago. And also where you used to write out, the old-fashioned, signs for adverts, say if you want to buy something or sell something, do you know what I mean? It's just a very old-fashioned way of doing things, which I do feel that we've really come a long way from. I mean, I will not find any shop where you could put an advert in the window, my delicious little babies. Those days seem to, for now, there we are, be well gone. I still do believe, there we are, that we can get this back, you know what I mean? But it takes a lot of, there we are, work to do this, my delicious little babies. And also, what they were also talking about, I was listening to this dear woman, bless her, and she was saying that, her dear husband, bless, and of course with anybody not in that way, her dear husband, he went to go and fight in the war. You see, none of them could understand. Okay, and this video that I was looking at, this was filmed in 2022, my delicious little babies, okay? And nobody could understand why this war came about in the first place, because everybody, there we are, was getting along, hunky-dory, tickety-boo. There were no problems at all. And then the next minute, all of that kicked off, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Well, anyway, getting back to this dear woman now, I think 3 days before the war ended, very sadly, her dear husband lost his life, my delicious little babies. Now, at first, the mortuary and everything, they never wanted to let her in, not to see her own husband, my delicious little babies. They showed her dear husband's feet, and that's how she knew that was her husband, my delicious little babies. Look at that. Eventually, they did allow her to see his face, my delicious little babies, yes. And, she said that there was some, shall we say, disfigurement with his face, my delicious little babies. Anyway, but those were the times where, you know, going back all those decades ago, where you know, years ago, where they never had phones or anything. Dog and Burns, my delicious little baby's case, so she had to go and tell her dear husband's mummy and daddy the news to walk there. She said she doesn't even know how she got there. Do you know what I mean? She couldn't really remember the rest of it. She, you know, she was not in a very good way. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. But can you say, okay? But like I said, this video was actually filmed in 2022, but I think it was only uploaded a day ago or something like that now then, okay? But this is going back years ago. Do you understand what I mean? What or you know what all this video was about, my delicious little babies. But how sad, how terribly, terribly sad. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, these wars, I mean, they say that, you know, oh, you know, somebody's going to attack, or so and so's going to attack, this country's going to attack. No, they're not. You know what I mean? They've got zero interest in attacking another country, one country to another. But of course, there we are, because this is big business with weapons and everything like this now then. And of course, you know, poor soldiers who do not even know in the first place what they're fighting for. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Kindness is a consequence, but like I said, you know, it's absolutely disgusting. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, but I will tell you, something just said not today. I don't know. There we are. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyway, but I'll advertise it tomorrow, my delicious little babies. Now then, the next one. This one here is because these are on YouTube, my delicious little babies. So this uploader happens to have 18.5 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, and it should be put as in the old space bar, my delicious little babies. You know, in older YouTube, capital C, criminal space, capital U, underworld. Okay, my delicious little babies, so should read once typed in, please and thank you. Should anybody have any form of an interest, criminal space underworld. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now then, this video is just over 47 minutes long, my delicious, sorry, little babies, okay? Yeah, stumbling here. Should read The Dark World of a Child, you know, I always call them little bands, but child trafficking rings in Asia. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? The Dark World of Child Trafficking Rings in Asia. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, the particular part in Asia that this video is about is Cambodia. Okay, my delicious little babies, and yeah, when you see like the ones who have been incarcerated for these putrid crimes, my delicious little babies, okay? What did you have? German, was he a teacher? German teacher. What did you have? Was he an ex-businessman or something from Denmark? Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, it seems to be a very much, there we are, the West. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, now some families, because of the poverty in the country, they, well, very sadly, they sell their little babies, their little bairns, who then go on to very sadly have not such a nice life, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's absolutely, there we are, effing putrid, man. And what's even more putrid is, there we are, how often this is going on, my delicious little babies, okay? And these dirty, dirty men now coming from different countries to go there, my delicious little babies. And of course, you know, it's gone on in other countries, you know, we've known this long time, there we are, for many years, my delicious little babies, okay? Some families, they just feel that their little baby, you know, is going to be going, I don't know, to go and do washing up and cleaning or something like this now, then even from such a young wee age. But they find themselves in a very terrible situation, my delicious little babies, okay? There's something to do there with an orphanage as well, yeah. Yeah, my delicious little babies, dirty, filthy, effing paedophiles, man. Do you understand what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. So yeah, it's. I mean, there's just no end to this. I mean, and of course, for some of them, they commit suicide. Oh, there was one American police officer, old Bill, my delicious little babies. But what he did, rather than the shame of everything, okay, and everybody hating him, he well, he shot himself in the back of the head, but he used a broom thing. You'd have to see it, my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? He used this broom handle thing, and that's how he did it. And he shot himself in the head, my delicious little babies. Well, as I would say, I personally do not feel like I'm a wicked woman for what I'm going to be done saying, my delicious little babies. But good riddance to pieces of shark like that. Because as far as I'm concerned, there we are. He did the world a favour. Yeah. Okay. For myself, I am very much against that kind of dirty, filthy, putrid behaviour, my delicious little babies. Yes, I am. I mean, no country should, feel that poor that families must sell their little babies. It's damn rank, man. It's absolutely effing putrid. And these are big men walking around with little babies. Dirty, filthy creatures. And of course, what they do say on there, they've managed to surf hard because there's this special unit or something, you know what I mean? And then they can track them down and everything. Well, anyway, that's a good thing. But once these are incarcerated and locked up, my delicious little babies, well, what did they say on there? Even the most hardest criminals cannot stand, that's my words, it's just words to effect. My delicious little babies cannot stand these type of dirty men now. So, of course, and of course, these do not get put, these dirty little effing paedophiles, they do not get put in a separate part of the prison. My delicious little babies. What happens is they get, shall we just say, thrown to them. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? And that's another reason why they try to do everything. I mean, on this video, you actually see where one man was at the German teacher one, where he went to jump off the balcony. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Okay, just to, try to escape what he got coming to him. But of course, he did survive and they took him to hospital. But yeah, he and he was a very nasty fucking piece of work, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? What he did to those poor little babies now. Dirty, filthy cretins, man. And of course, very sadly, this is going on all over the world, isn't it, my delicious little babies? You know what I mean? Very sadly. I mean, why can they not just leave our beautiful little babies alone just to be little babies? Do you know what I mean? What would a big man or a big woman want with a little baby? It's just dirtiness, man. Absolutely putrid and dirtiness. Anyway, my delicious little babies. So, and for the poor young babies as they're growing up now into young women. Well, I mean, that's traumatising. There we are. For the rest of their lives, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? And they drugged them. So when they were little, and they said, we do not want to do this, they were crying to go home to their families. And what did they do? Electrocute them and drug them. Okay, there's one wouldn't let them sleep. And they were having to, very sadly, between 10 and 20 clients a day. Fucking disgusting, man. Disgusting. That little babies should have to do dirty things like that now then. Makes me damn sick, man. I want to project in a bucket. anyway, but bless them. But some of these who are growing up now, they've managed to find, a place where they could be helped, and, they've been learning skills and to get educated and everything, my delicious little babies. But they should never have had to go through any of that, ever. Anyway, I'm not shouting at you, my delicious little babies. I'm just very passionate about anything like this. I really, really am. Anyway, my delicious little babies, but, may their lives blossom, and if they do ever decide to get married or something, may they be blessed with a happy and, prosperous life, my delicious little babies. But it's just so sad. I mean, really, if you was in that situation, you'd never want to look at another flipping man again, would you, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? Because I know for myself, certainly would not. I wouldn't want them to come anywhere near me. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just how I would feel, my delicious little babies. You know what I mean? Anyway, so finally today, my delicious little babies, and I'm going to close my book. This is on YouTube, my delicious little babies. Came up on my feed. Well, both of these, all three of them actually, and the one with Transnistria, that came up on my feed as well, my delicious little babies. Okay, because I do not remember seeing any of these uploaders, my delicious little babies. So this will more than likely be just one-offs, okay, my delicious little babies. So in the order space bar, my delicious little babies, capital R, Rafe, I'll just spell it for you, Rafe, okay, my delicious little babies, then space, capital H, Heydel, I'll spell it, Heydel, hyphen, Monku. So I'll just spell that for you, my delicious little babies. Capital MONK. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, this uploader happens to have 78.1 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, and it is just over 21 minutes long, my delicious little babies. Now then, the video should read BBC, yeah, you've been bullshit, and government won't discuss devastating content in explosive new immigration report. Okay, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to repeat that again for you, shall I? BBC and government won't discuss devastating content in stumbling for a reason, in explosive new immigration report. Okay, my delicious little babies, so now we're going to close our book. Sorry, my delicious little babies, I just had to write down Nistria. Okay, my delicious little babies, and it just reminds me for tomorrow because I have saved the video. Okay, my delicious little babies, now then. Excuse me. Put my book over there. So let's have a little discuss. So yeah, so what this is about, my delicious little babies, okay? Because you see more and more and more, and of course it is becoming most apparent that more and more and more are seeing this now, my delicious little babies, okay? Where you've got different nationalities coming in to our old England, my delicious little babies, okay? And what they're talking about is, like where they were pretending to have a lot of highly skilled coming from different countries, my delicious little babies. Well, it turns out that there's not as many of those as what once thought, my delicious little babies. Okay, I'm not surprised at all. Also to do with the NHS, okay, my delicious little babies, so that comes into it as well, okay. Now, something I just want to say, sorry, I'll come back to this video in a minute. Sorry, there's something I just wanted to say to do with that Transnistria video, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's just come straight back into my noddle. I forgot all about it. They were talking about, because ones leave, because there isn't a lot of work and everything, okay? Sometimes they'll go to Poland, to Romania, and sometimes if they can get into England, there are some here. My delicious little babies, from what I have heard. and they pick, what is it, strawberries, something specific, what your man there was talking about. They pick strawberries, but they have to be perfect strawberries, okay. And apples, so they have to be perfect apples, like no marks on them or anything like that now then. And for picking nurse, because this is on the video, can get what is it, 2,500 euros, sorry, a month. It's a lot, isn't it, to pick strawberries and apples, my delicious little babies. I just thought that was, there we are, rather odd. Because if we go back decades ago, my delicious little babies, when they were getting from foreign countries, my delicious little babies, to come and pick the fruit and everything like this now then. And I know this, there we are, because I spoke to some decades ago. There we are, that's how I know. And I also know that they're only getting paid, between 3 and 4 ka-ching an hour. My delicious little babies, okay. So times must have, there we are, seriously changed to get that kind of a change. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little baby? So I don't know. I cannot see how somebody can get paid 2.5 grand a month for picking apples and strawberries, my delicious little babies, okay. But the point is that, sorry, and I just wanted to say that apparently they said what it was, the specific wording in England, something like that. It has to be like that. There's something else there, there we are, my delicious little babies. There's something else there, okay, my delicious little babies, okay. Who would ramble on so much like that now then about apples and strawberries, my delicious little babies? Do you know what I mean? It just didn't, I don't know, something didn't sound right with that part, okay, my delicious little babies, anyway. But let's go back to this last video that I just advertised, yeah. So anyway, so it seems that ones coming into our countries, not as many have got the skills, okay, my delicious little babies, to come into England, okay. They were also talking about, what was it, Denmark? Yeah, Denmark again, my delicious little babies, okay. And because apparently, was it Denmark who has been keeping the data, my delicious little babies, anyway. But yeah, so ones are just getting more and more and more peed off, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? Because in reality, right, it's like they say over here, they say, oh, we need, our poxy government now, that we need others to come in, to do work. Well, no, because we've got our English to do work. And if there was to pay decent wages, my delicious little babies, it's like what's happening now. Okay, well, anyway, this has been happening a long time. So what's happening is they keep putting everything up, gas, electric, lecky. They put up, anything they can, really, my delicious little babies. Everything's just gone up, food, everything, okay? But the thing is, there we are, wages still stay the same. And if to pick fruit or whatever that was about, let me tell you, you'd have flipping millions. If you're going to get paid 2.5 grand a month, you'd have millions of old English. There we are, my delicious little babies going picking it. Do you see what I mean? So, what this is about, my delicious little babies, okay? They take so many in. And then here's the thing as well. And then they pay ones, there we are, which they have been doing this a long time, to go back to their countries. Well, what about looking after our country? Do you know what I mean? Do you see hundreds of us in old England flocking to other countries to go and live there? No, you do not. I'm not shouting at you, like I said, once again, mad little babies. No, I'm not, but you do not see it. But yes, they want to, there we are, come to our country, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? But a lot of the countries that we're talking about here, you do not see many English at all Well, I certainly do not know any mad delicious little babies, and I'm flipping 51 now, mad delicious little babies. I do not know any who want to go to the places where they've been coming from. For some countries, mad delicious little babies, okay? So no. And of course, our putrid government, they do not want to talk about this. They refuse. Well, hasn't our old English in our country, my delicious little babies, got every right, there we are, to be told things and have things explained now to us? Do you see what I mean? Okay, but of course, this is like, there's so many now, chatty, because what it is, it's not just our old England, my delicious little babies, the English talking about this. You got lots of other, there we are, cultures talking about this, you see what I mean? But it's well worth a listen to that little video, my delicious little babies. Yes, it is. But there's no way on this earth that you could disagree with it. You just couldn't. Do you say? Because in reality, we do not need, okay, all of the countries coming into our country, my delicious little babies. So that's not me being racist or prejudiced. And that's another thing as well, what your woman on that video said. I'm talking about my delicious little babies. She says, because there's so many who's talking about it now, like I say, all to do with all different cultures, you know what I mean? That you cannot now be accused of being racist or prejudiced. So anyway, I've said this long time. So what, you're racist or prejudiced because you do not want all types of different countries coming into our country. And because of that, we're racist and prejudiced. No, we are not. I've got very close, there we are, dear friends, different nationalities and everything, you know what I mean? Okay, I've got plenty different, colours in my own family, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So I'm not racist, prejudiced at all, my delicious little babies, okay? But it's like we're supposed to zip it and shushy, shut our traps and not say anything. Okay, then they talk about, that us over in here in England, anybody who's out to work, that we don't want to work. No. Why should anybody go to work, my delicious little babies, right? When you're working for a pittance, okay, you don't get paid whether you're driving or whether you're on a train or whatever public transport, bus or whatever, right? So you don't get paid that time that you stood there waiting or you sat in traffic. So you don't get paid for that time, my delicious little babies, okay? Like if you drive to work or a bus or anything. They don't give you that extra ka-ching, do they, to do that? Okay, then they pay you a pittance, okay? Of course, rent's going up, mortgages going up, there we are, every damn thing's going up, my delicious little babies, okay? And then they expect everybody, and in some cases they make out it's minimum wage, there we are, but it's less than minimum wage. And they expect ones to do that. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies? So they tell a part of the story now, but they don't tell the full story. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay? And let me tell you, there's other industries, my delicious little babies, there we are, where they're making a lot of flipping ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Oh, yes. Believe me on that one. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay? So at the end of the day, and I also believe as well, my delicious little babies, we need to get back. I also believe, I was actually talking about this to me lovely dear little friend Kaz the other day, my delicious little babies. I said that another thing that I want, I said, is our old England to give back, because it's not us personally, my delicious little babies, it's, others, my delicious little babies, to give back what they have stole from other countries and to say sorry that it will never be done again, okay? Because we've got in our old England, I mean, imagine the museums and everything like this now. Then, of course, they're closing these down. Okay, my delicious little babies. Okay, well, I mean, come on, the majority of it's not even from our bloody effing country, my delicious little babies, because they thieved it and stole it from other countries. So they should have everything, there we are, returned. And my dear little friend Kaz agreed, bless her. In fact, and I spoke to my cousin as well. He agreed as well. So we cannot all be wrong, can we, my delicious babies? Do you know what I mean? And in fact, any country who stole off another, there we are, they should return it to, rightfully, to the countries. That's what they should do, my delicious little babies. Do you say? But what we need to do is get back to, not so much with all this, don't get me wrong, computers and everything like this now then, yes, they can be very useful. But what has happened, my delicious little babies, okay, is that they want to box everybody into little offices. Because I used to do office work, my delicious little babies, and management myself. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? They want to box everybody in so that your eyes go square, okay, so that you're not really learning any skills as such. You're just on a keyboard all effing day. My delicious little babies. No. What would ones prefer to be doing? They would prefer to be out in the fields, picking things. I should imagine that is a rather, and I thought this decades ago, actually, my delicious little babies, but I just never drove at that time, going back decades and decades ago, okay? I would have thought it would have been most wonderful, there we are, and therapeutic. And you're out in the air. Well, we don't exactly get fresh air, my delicious little babies, okay? But I would have seen that as being rather therapeutic myself. Do you see what I mean? But for a lot of the English, of course, we do not get these opportunities. They call in other countries, there we are, to come and do it. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So that's what I have to say, my delicious little babies, about this. So it's got nothing to do with the fact that ones do not want to work. I do not believe the bullshit. I mean, okay, you're probably going to have the small, minority who, just, maybe it's just not in their vocabulary, the word work, my delicious little babies, because you do get them everywhere, no matter what country, okay? But you got others that no. Or why should you go and do a job just for a poxy statistic, just to get you off their books? Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, they're not interested whether you will enjoy doing that job role or not. They couldn't give a fiddler's F. It's whoever else, there we are, they are reporting to, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. So that's what I'm saying to you. You see, there's a lot more to this, my delicious little babies. But then when you got others going back to that, coming over, right, then they're getting paid change to go back to their own country where they can live a comfortable life. Well, come on, what the effing hell is all that about, my delicious little babies? We get back to it again. We should look after ours first. Not all other countries, my delicious little babies. Like I said, if somebody's fleeing a war zone and it is a genuine reason, then nobody would have a problem with this, my delicious little babies. But this is not what's happening. I do not see any wars over in France either. So why are they coming from there to here then? Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, as far as I'm concerned as well, he's feeding these traffickers, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? That's the last thing I wanted to tell you. I remember years ago on the television, I forgot what channel it was on now. It could have been on one of these, these extended channels or something, where it was in a bottle and they were going up to like a top of a hill or something, a massive hill. And what they were doing was catching the fresh air from this real top of a hill or mountain, my delicious little babies, okay? And then they were sealing it. Now, that came into my noddle a few days ago, my delicious little babies, there we are, and I just forgot all about it. That was going back years and years and years ago, that was, my delicious little babies. And I remember at the time, and I remember watching it, and I like scratching my head as if to say, well, what are you catching flipping fresh air in the bottle for? Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But guess what? It fetched rather a lot of ka-ching, ching, ching. Just so that ones could sniff the fresh air, my delicious little babies. I remember that all those years back on the television. So occasionally, there we are, it was useful, okay, but occasionally, for most, there we are, it's just a load of crap on there, do you know what I mean? Mad delicious babies. Anyways, that's the end of my video, so whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. Okay, my delicious little babies. But yeah, they're very good videos to take a listen to, my delicious little babies. So it's what's going on in our old England. Okay, and ones are speaking up about this. And then, of course, you've got, I mean, for some of the alternative, you probably know this channel and who they are, okay? My delicious little babies, but me, myself, I have not seen these before, okay? My delicious little babies. And, of course, that Cambodia one, my delicious little babies. See, I was stumbling again then, yeah. Absolutely disgusting, man. Do you see what I mean? But this is what's happened, my delicious little babies. Very sadly. And of course, a lot of these, you know, these men now are either retired or something like this now then. Businessmen, you know, like I said, teacher, like I said, old Bill, do you know what I mean? Seems to be everywhere, my delicious little babies, if you follow me. Yes. Do you see what I mean? Dirty, filthy critters and cretins, man. Anyway, my delicious little babies, that's all I have to say today. But I'll write that other video down shortly now, ready for tomorrow. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So until my next video, thank you so very much for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments. And I do hope that any videos that I advertise, you know, as a hobby, as I say, that if you do manage to see any of these videos, there we are, that you will find them, that we are most informative. And if you can and you feel that anybody else with your friends or family would be interested in listening to the videos, if you chose to take a look at them, if you could please pass them on. I would be, there we are, most thankful and grateful, my delicious little babies, okay? So until my next video, so very much love to you all. You just take care of yourselves now. Please try to take care of others. So take care. Love ya. Goodbye.